let's talk
Um,
pickles. You know, today's session
yes.
is all about what's your pickle? Are you serving pickles or are you selling sides of pickles? And how can that create a higher level of customer service in your business?
To the HPLS podcast. Live, relevant, and high performance information, conversations, and education weekly.
And I mean, I love pickles. Pickles are
I,
awesome.
I figured it was no better topic for today. It is hump day. I mean, it is Wednesday. Might as well talk about pickles, right?
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Hey, well, it's funny because I mean, the headline of today's session is a little bit of a clickbait, so I apologize for that and for all y'all watching or listening on the podcast later on. A little bit of clickbait, but you know what? That curiosity drives it, right? And like we'll put in the comments, and then I'll also throw it in the if you're listening on the podcast later on, we'll also throw it into the Just Paul says good morning, Brett, my man. We'll also throw it into the comments or in the information session on the below the podcast. But what all this stems from is on our last session, DJ sent me a text while we were in the middle of the session saying, "What's your pickle?" And it's kind of one of those things like, what? What are you talking? So it was like it was a couple of question marks that just went back saying like, what are you talking about the pickle? And it's
I love
interesting
it.
because when you watch that video, I just posted it on Facebook. I'll have to post it also on YouTube here.
Yeah, yeah,
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I'll go over to LinkedIn and post it on LinkedIn as well. But so in essence, I mean, it's an interesting concept, right? Where this
Absolutely.
gentleman Bill is using. Well, I'll let you tell the story, DJ. Go ahead, tell the story because
Yeah.
it's
No,
coming
no.
from you, not me. So.
No, go ahead, man. Yeah. So, and thank you. But yeah, and thank you guys for everybody for joining. But again, it is a key clickbait, I guess, way of giving them the pickle, and that's really long story short. And when you guys watch the video, you'll see. And I actually had this training kind of. We used this when I was a regional at a authorized cell phone dealer, and obviously no matter what kind of customer you're dealing with. I mean, here, uh, and again, it's so he goes over a story of when, so he has an ice cream shop, almost like a Friendlies or DQ or something like that, but it has a restaurant in there as well, and has a customer who loves his place, goes there all the time. Um, Says that he, loves his burgers and also loves his pickles. And he's like, oh wow, I had no clue people liked my pickles. And so this guy though was kind of ticked off. And one thing I'll kind of go into as we're talking about it, but is the one thing we really stressed when teaching this was, and you learn from the letter in there, is when there is somebody's happy and they give a review, they might go on your thing and give a review, maybe not. They might tell somebody, but a customer who's pissed off, who you screw over, you do something wrong, they're going to tell 50 people. They're going to put a bunch of bad reviews. They're going to blast you everywhere. And that's really what he took to heart. Was this guy sent a letter saying, hey, I love your place, I go there all the time, and I always ask for a pickle, they give me an extra pickle, but now they wouldn't give me an extra pickle. I don't know why. And so his basically battle cry from there forward, and turned into a book and training and everything like that, was give them the pickle. Just give them the pickle. And it's going the extra mile in customer service, going above and beyond. What is the thing that you do? We talked about it, and Dan talked about it multiple times with superpowers. Your superpower. What is your superpower? Is another way of saying, what is your superpower? What is that extra that you give your customers? What's the extra you can give your customers? I think that's what, when we did it back then, and the video and the bigger of training really goes into, banks, and how banks will have pens, but they're attached to these chains, like people are stealing these pens. Well, don't make them feel like they're stealing the pen. Write your name on it, write some information, use it as advertisement, let them take it with them. It's just really that whole concept of what can you give to make that customer really remember you or think of you.
I remember back in the day, when I first started in selling, somebody had given me the awesome strategy of wearing like a bright yellow tie into a meeting. Oh, they're going to remember the tie. They're going to remember the tie. And I shouldn't say, awesome strategy as if it's sarcastic. I mean, it worked. There was people that when I was on the phone with them, like, oh, you're the guy that came in with the yellow tie 6 months ago. I'm like, yeah, you remember me.
That's
But
hilarious.
in watching that video, and for all of you that we just posted it again, Austin, good morning, my friend. For all of you that are posting on LinkedIn, I'll jump into LinkedIn in a second and give you that link. I mean, it's 3 minutes and 51 seconds. Like DJ said, the essence of the story is like if you can give a customer something, give it to them, right? Like don't hold back. In our world, I mean, for what you and I are doing right now, DJ, there's so many people that say, well, I have all these strategies, but if I give people the strategies, they're not going to buy anything from me. And I think
Yeah.
it's such a limited perspective. And then
So
I go
limited.
back into my logistics days and my sales days, and I look at my customers now and everything. And I mean, I've given customers other carrier names because there was no profit in it for me. And
Yes.
originally the thought process, because some people out there that are sales reps that are watching and listening might say, Dan, that is absolutely stupid. You're kind of opening that door for somebody else to come in. But I've always believed if somebody can serve my customer better than me, they deserve to have my customer, which is, I guess, where that striving comes from to always be more, do more, and achieve more for my clients. Because I believe, anyways, if somebody's going to transfer money, right? If somebody's going to pay me to move their freight, somebody's going to pay me to increase their image, credibility, and brand. Somebody's going to pay me to help achieve their goals, which in essence is what we do with every single shipment, right, DJ? I mean,
That's
every
right.
single shipment, everybody makes a profit. If you don't make a profit, I think you're doing an injustice to yourself. You're not
Absolutely.
honoring what you're worth. And if a customer doesn't want you to make a profit, I think they're not honoring the entire business integrity. And some people might argue with me today that so much costs have skyrocketed. But in the end, it's the consumer that's going to pay all these extra costs. Like
Yep.
for a certain amount of time, consumers will have the offensive. It's kind of like fuel. Do you remember when gas really started climbing? And I remember when, I mean, gosh, it was whew, like there was one point when fuel started rising, I was almost like, I'm never driving again, kind of thing. This is ridiculous. And I
Yeah.
remember when it went from like, so in Canada on a liter, when it went over $1 a liter, and it was mind blowing. And I remember like my first vehicle, it cost like $45 to fill up, and now it's like $120 to fill up. But
Oh my God.
but yeah, but now you see what happens is prices were so high when they drop, we think in Canada anyways, oh my God, it's $1 a liter. That's a deal, right? So it's just reprogramming us. So I think well, I mean, I know what's going to happen in the end with all this logistics stuff that's happening is in the end, our costs are skyrocketing. For those of you that do the grocery shopping in the household or whatever, I mean, I'm noticing a massive decrease in quality of the taste of things like tomatoes and all these things because I think they're coming over way early now as opposed to like ripening a little bit more in locations, Brazil or wherever we're bringing all these things in from. And, to me, in the end, we as consumers are going to pay for it. But I also know that the more we give, the more we get. And especially in customer service, like if you look at the level of customer service, just in everything, I mean, y'all go out and y'all buy stuff, you know, I think that customer service level has dropped
Oh,
online. When you purchase online, they have to raise that customer service level. Like it's almost to the point where if I go online and I have a problem with the store, if they don't have an instant chat, I kind of get pissed off. Whereas like 2 years ago, it, I barely used instant chat. Like I'd pick up the phone. Does that make sense to you? Like how
oh yeah.
how we as consumers our buying patterns and our things shift, and how do we as sales professionals and professionals that are trying to add, and this isn't a buzzword value, but we're trying to add real value to our
Yeah.
market, to our customers, to our team, to our company. Like I think personally, as a an industry, as sales reps, we need to rethink the idea of customer service, because customer service to you, DJ, won't be exactly what customer service is to me. Like, we're very much alike, and as we get to know each other more and more, we realize we're more and more alike. But
Yeah,
the essence, like the nucleus of customer service, I'll give
absolutely.
you a perfect example. I'm working with a client where we set up a payment structure, and I went to the provider that I have for the payment structure, right? The online provider. And I went to them because I wasn't sure how to set it up. And I took their advice without even asking questions. I just said, okay, this is what I need. How do I do it? And they say, you do this, 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 and this. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to the professional. I don't know the system that well, but you do. So long story short, we set it up wrong. And a client got charged twice in 2 days. And
Oh,
I'm
oh,
beyond myself. Like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I was about to cancel today's session because I don't have it figured out. And
ah,
because I'm thinking of it from the client's perspective, like,
of
what the
course.
hell's going on? You've billed me twice in 4 days. It's supposed to be billed every 30 days. And I went to the company, and their chat only comes on at 11. I've sent over 6 emails now and called twice to try and get a hold of somebody. I'm now frustrated because I have to wait till 11 o'clock to get an answer, because that's not fair to my customer. Whereas certain, like, other
See,
people might just say, oh, well, it is what it is. I'll get it figured out. I'm
well,
very
see,
sorry.
but
But
that's even the back end of giving them the pickle. That's, I mean, you are giving us behind the scenes of, you are scrambling because you're freaking out that your customer is going to be. I mean, in the end, you're freaking out that your new student customer subscriber is going to be pissed off because and that's, I think, we lost value in that somewhere. I think as companies are getting bigger and bigger, and they just it's more everybody's a number, and not
Mhm.
it's not the old school customer service of the old ways of smaller companies, and you're dealing with the owners. Now it's the if you even know who the owner is of these big companies, you don't know anymore. But I think that's kind of the thing. We're getting so far away from valuing the things that really matter, customer service. I mean, that should be one of the main reasons why anybody goes and chooses one versus the other. And it's more, we've gotten on this whole idea of cost, price, rate. And everybody just wants to shop wherever it's the cheapest. Well, usually wherever you go to that's the cheapest, you're getting the worst customer service, I feel like.
Mhm.
And that's where I think, man, we've fallen so far. I mean, to give some examples of how it really even works. I mean, yeah, and I tell my carriers every time. So carriers, especially my guys who are my regular guys, that I thank you so much. The little things that even my carriers, my regular carriers, will do in my network. I'm not checking and finding out when they're going to be somewhere. They're letting me know right away. They have a system that is automatically updating me on certain things. If there's a delay, they're telling me right away. Those kind of things, we value those. And guys, brokers, this is a little, just kind of, I mean, it shouldn't be a secret, but for those who aren't thinking it, it is. If you value that, your customer is going to value that. So I just put myself on the other end. If I'm loving them, the carrier I have on the load is, man, they're making my job so easy. Hello, that's what we're supposed to do for our customer. Make their job so easy. Don't make them wonder where their load is at. Don't make them wonder when it's going to be there. Be on top of that. Go the extra. It's just those things. Yeah, it's give them the pickle. Give
Well,
them the pickle. That's
I mean, and I think this is what it is, because in the end, as a logistics sales rep, like as a logistics company,
yeah,
all you really have is information, right? We transfer information. We get information from our suppliers and we
absolutely.
transfer it. You know, um, I think if oh there you go, you got the tropical one today. I think
Yes,
that
I
if
do.
we a lot of the times, from a customer service standpoint, what do we like? How do we as sales rep now? Obviously, for all of you listening and watching, yeah, okay. There's some companies that have like centralized dispatch. There's some companies that have dispatch in your individual groups. But I think as a sales rep, we need to really stop and say, okay, what is my team sharing with the customer, like ops, and how does
Absolutely.
that look on me? Nigel Baldwin, who we're going to have on in December,
Can't wait.
he posted something this morning that says, like, if your sales reps are not versed on what the company ideal is, what the company value is, if they can't, they can't, and I'm paraphrasing, but if they can't put it into a succinct sentence, don't let them make sales calls, because they're actually ruining the image, the credibility, and the brand of your company, right? Like I mean, I look at sales
Absolutely.
reps that come into the industry and choose to not better themselves and like start making sales calls and say completely the wrong things or get customers and don't have the same focus as the corporate side of it. And maybe this is for smaller companies, and maybe I'm completely blind, or maybe I've got this fictitious lens that I see things through. Could be. But I think every company, regardless of size, multi-billion-dollar corporations, we all have what do they call it? Like corporate sayings that sound really good
Yeah,
on a website and sound really good at
yes.
the
The
at the
motto,
at the
corporate mottos,
the
or
motto. Yeah, I mean, but how many people in the company follow that?
I know what you're talking
Right?
about.
Like,
Yeah.
how many people in the
Mission,
company? And what
mission,
I say is, oh, we're here
mission
to look
statement.
out for the mission statement. That's it. We're here to look out for the company. We're here to do this. We're here to do that. And it's like, oh my God, that's such good words on a paper. Like those words are, I don't even know if that's English, but those are such good words on paper.
Yeah.
But how many of people in your company truly see that? And as a sales rep, right? Like this
So
is
right.
critical for everyone watching, listening. As a sales rep, your integrity is built based on your operations, because you're going in and you're saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, Mr. and Mrs. Prospect, this is how I do things. And unless you're a solopreneur doing all your own operations, your operations, the customer service side, which is the everything side of the business, for all you
Yes.
sales reps that think that you are the cat's ass, you're wrong. You're not. Your team who support your
Yeah.
business mean the world. You bring in the business, your business will be gone in 3 days if you manage it on your own. Your team keeps it. Let's call a spade a spade. And at this point, customer service is dropping at a massive rate. And maybe it's
Oh,
underserviced, maybe it's understaffed, maybe it's the fact that you're not choosing the right suppliers. But I mean, do yourself a favor, call an audible on your entire sales process. This is the video I'm releasing today, and it's amazing how things go this way. But today I'm releasing on my YouTube channel sales audibles, how to call sales audibles, and really find those heat maps in your sales sequence. And part of it is customer service, because
yeah.
customer service drives everything. So if you say one thing and then your customer service comes back and does another, that's like contradicting what you've promised the customer. And for
Absolutely.
you as a sales rep, don't just walk into your customer service department and blow up because they didn't do it right. Like, how are you guiding your team so there's a centralized vision? How are you giving them multiple pickles that they can give out to customers? Because again, we talked about it on the last session with Jeffrey when he was on Monday, like that unified vision
That's
of
right.
what it is that we're all going after. That's the nucleus of all the decision making. If you're giving out pickle after pickle and your customer service department is charging for pickles, you're screwed. Like, you're never going to win.
Yeah. Yeah. And man, and yes, you're, oh man, everything you just said there, yeah, it got my head. So I will tell you now, and it's almost like, just so to tell you how close and accurate you were on everything you just said there. So guys, we did not talk about this before
No.
even sharing this video, but what Dan talked about is exactly why we showed this video back a long time ago, and why we even incorporated this. We created a mission statement. We were all getting on one page, because here's what I'll tell you. I was managing, and anybody who's in the cell phone industry, you'll understand this. It's kind of like being a overpaid babysitter. It's generally a kid industry, younger
I
kids
think
working.
I think you would have multiple people argue that every industry is. If
I,
you're a
I guess,
manager, you're overpaid.
but let me tell you, I mean, it was inside the mall, so it's a mall job, it's kid job, and so it was. we paid a decent hourly, but we paid very little commission. I came from a sales background. The owner, we would go back and forth, and let's try to switch a little bit. Let's go a little more, get some sales going, and give a little more commission, lower hourly, and man, we got some sales killers out of there. And you brokerage houses, I had some of those guys next to me ripping off customers left and right. Well, that's what it drew out of our team. We had some guys way overselling things that shouldn't be doing. Well, next thing we know, that store is getting a bad rep. We had 11, 12 stores at the time, and oh, don't go there. They're charging people way more. They're ripping people off. Da 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 da. Whoa, no. This was not the goal of you wanting, and we giving you guys commission was so you can start ripping people off so you make more commission. And so yeah, we had to totally. It was that whole shift. But yeah, I mean, exactly what you said. That's why we did it. It was, hey, this is the mission, guys. We customer service. We want to go above and beyond. We give them the pickle, and then we figured out what our pickle was, and we always went from because we were a kiosk, we'd use those stupid balls, and we stress balls. Hey, you look stressed shopping here, throw it out to somebody to get them to. And again, it's the whole where I'm at flea market idea. They're looking to shop. You're trying to get them to want to know why you're shopping there, but that's what we can use on this too.
You're sharing that, DJ, and in my head I'm thinking, you look at it from that perspective, right? Those people that were ripping people off probably skewed the overall name of the cell phone company you were working for.
Yes.
Because and then I go back and I think, okay, salespeople that make all these promises to customer ABC, big customer ABC, if the right person goes into that customer, they can truly help.
Yep.
So you're kind of twofold. One, if you go in and you don't, you overpromise. Jeff talked about it on Monday.
Yeah,
like
Jeff
underpromise, over deliver, right?
Oh,
and Jeff's here, and Jeff's like, boom, he's done mission statements, like, but there's another level to it. And the other level is you go in and you completely screw up. And listen, 28 years in the industry, man, I've screwed up so many times I can't even count. Hopefully, if any of my customers are watching, they know I've stood up to the plate and tried to make it better. And if it doesn't, if you can't, some customers just don't want to hear it. Okay, so be it. But I look at it and I say, again, using Ryan's approach, where I put my head down at night, knowing I've done everything in my power to do what I can do to help my community, my team, my customers, everyone get better and be better, do more, be more, achieve more. But if you don't, you overpromise, underdeliver, you just kind of walk away because it's like, oh, well, I use this customer to make my money and I've walked away. You're actually ruining it for any other third-party company calling. Because immediately it's like all brokers are the same, just like this stigma of all used car salespeople.
Yes.
Right? And we're adding to it. Every time we do something that does not add value, that does not give the customer a pickle, we're adding to it. And then not to mention, you've now ruined it for your company. And I can remember when I first started in the industry, like the company I worked for had a lot of salespeople and a lot of sales. And there was like, old customers. And I had this thought one day, where I said, you know what I'm going to do for a month? I'm just going to chase old customers. I'm going to solve problems. And I'm going to be that one that really comes out and says, listen, I don't know what the problem was, but here's what I can solve, or here's my solution. Here's my superpower. And, within a week and a half, I think, probably 2 weeks, I had more people say, you know what, the sales rep, and then it was multiple sales reps, just wasn't one office. It was multiple sales reps.
Oh, yeah.
They promised me all this and they didn't deliver. And I'm saying, okay, I apologize for that, but I saw so many people's perspectives of a company completely shift. Like right now, I'm in the middle of one of them. I bought a program. I was made a guarantee. The company, it's been a month now. I'm fighting to get my money back because I did every single step, like executed, like every single step. Nothing. So I said, guys, here's all the data. Like I'm not an idiot when it comes to making sure I collect my data, right? Here's all the data. I want my money back. Well, it's got to go to legal. Well, it's got to go here. A month, DJ, a month. But you know what? When I joined, they took my money right away. but it's a
Of
month
course.
now. And I said, and you
But
know what? Now I'm at the point now where I'm about to go public with it. I'm about to start calling them out, and I'm battling personally with that. And some of the sales reps, you might understand this. Like, I'm battling personally with that because it's not me. But
yeah,
how do I help other people that maybe use their last dime, hoping this is the bridge that helps them
correct.
get from where they are to where they want to go? And you know, some people say, well, people shouldn't be using their last dime, and I disagree with that. I think if you have a solution where the guarantee is there, you try it because there's a
Well,
guarantee. Big deal, you
look,
get your money back.
look, let's just you stealing one of your phrases, call a spade. I mean, if things are working, if everything's clicking right, you're not your sales are going through the roof. Nobody's looking for new solutions. So yeah, money's endless. But if you're struggling, things aren't working, things aren't clicking, you're new to the industry, you've never done it before, and you are
Or
guaranteed
I'm
all
sorry to
of the
interrupt you, but or you just want to collapse your timelines. Like
yeah,
for me, I know everything is figure outable. I know that. Like Marie Forleo wrote the book, Everything is Figure Outable. Everything is. But if I want to figure it out in 3 months instead of 6 months, I'll bring in an expert to help me figure it out.
yep,
Right? Just as you would do. That's why programs exist. That's why training
yeah,
exists. That's why people go to seminars. That's why people go to conferences, because they're saying, I'm going to get this much knowledge in this much. Like, you look at a book. A book is a year or two of somebody's knowledge strategies wrapped into a weekend
yes,
that you could read it, right? Like there's that part of it. For me, that's way more important than struggling or anything. Like, I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. There's people struggling, DJ. We all know that. But
of course,
it's like, how do I, as a new sales rep, how can I start serving more clients at the highest levels possible? And how can I do it in 3 to 6 months instead of a year to 2 years? Because then if I do it in 6 months, I have a year and a half of reaping the rewards of being able to serve at that highest level. Does that make
yeah,
sense? Like, I hope,
oh yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
sorry, I had to
no,
interrupt you, but I
yeah,
just wanted to make sure we cleared
no,
that.
no, and yeah, and you're right, but yeah, that's yeah, I don't know, yeah,
It's challenging. It's challenging, but we look at it and we say, okay, customers nowadays, especially nowadays, have endless options, right? Like remember, it's endless options. As much as there's congestion in the market, as much as we've got capacity issues and supply chain as a whole fractions and issues and fractures, customers have more options today than they had 24 months ago. I believe
absolutely.
it because
I mean,
the proof is
with
in
the
the
inter
data.
with the internet, with phones, I mean, it's
Well, I
just
mean,
like
it's
you
not just
just
internet; it's like digital freight brokerage. It's like customer. You just all you have to do is call 4 of your customers and say, how many calls do you get today compared to what you got a year ago? And they're going to
oh yeah,
say 15, 1,600% increase. So realistically, customers have more options. Now, are all of them going to be good? Are a lot of them going to mess them up? For sure, but they have options. So how are you, the professional sales rep, mitigating those negative experiences or helping to overpower for me, DJ, the best thing ever is guarantees that you can stand on.
yes.
I've said to so many customers, I go, like, if it
Under
doesn't
promise,
happen,
over
it's free.
deliver. I mean, Jeff,
Yeah,
that's what
yeah.
we used to preach that all the time. I mean, and you have to be, look, I think Andrew said it, and again, it was the honesty, integrity, and respect. We just got to go back to those things. If you say what you mean what you say, watch what you say. I heard somebody say that. I was like, wow, yes, exactly. If we could just say what we mean what we say, and watch what we say, but uh, it could go far. It'll go far, but that's where you
Yeah.
don't overpromise.
But you know
Don't.
where over promising also comes in a lot is, and we've talked about this, and here's where I think a lot of salespeople fall flat. Okay. And if this is you and you're listening, I apologize for calling you out, but the reality is it's fact. You need $2,000 to get the job done. Okay. You need that in order to get a high quality supplier. In order to make things happen, you need $2,000. You
Yeah,
take the load for 1,500 or 1,750 to get the freight. knowing wholeheartedly you're going to have to put a subpar carrier on it, right? Subpar partner, subpar carrier. At that point, probably carrier, meaning you're going to have to go to some load board. It's not going to be one that you have built a relationship with. You're probably, or your team's going to hang up the phone and go, I don't know how this is going to go, but you go through it anyways. Because I think as sales reps, as salespeople as a whole, I think we create a lot of these problems for ourselves just because we want to put numbers on the board. Because I can't tell you how many companies I work with. What are the sales? And I said, what do you care about sales? Like as a company, sales to me as a company, again, some people might go, Dan, are you absolutely ape shit here or what? But sales mean nothing. Profitability is everything. Sales is like in golf, you drive for show, you putt for dough. So profitability is putting, driving is sales. I don't care what my sales are. If I'm doing $1 million profit a year and I have okay, and again, some customers might say this is stupid, but a 30% margin as opposed to a 15% margin. I'd much rather a 30% margin doing $1 million a year profit than a 15% margin because it's less operating overhead, it's less of everything. But we as sales reps focus on getting numbers on the board, right? Sales on the board. How many loads did you move this week? And instead saying, okay, you know what, Mr. Customer, I'd love to do this for $17.50. Unfortunately, if I do it for $17.50, here's the 5 things that could and probably will go wrong. So I would much rather not ruin my image, credibility, and brand with you and let you give that load to somebody else when they screw up. And hey, they might not. It might go off without a hitch. But when they screw up, see, we devalue ourselves and what we bring to the table. I think in the end is the really short version of what I'm trying to get across here is we continuously do it. We devalue ourselves for what we can bring. Like this isn't a digital product. This isn't a thing where you push 3 buttons and you give somebody access to something you built 6 months ago, right? No. Like you are working for every single time. You're monitoring, you're consistently following up, you're consistently thinking of new ideas, new strategies, new ways to implement tactics and strategies that are going to help your customers. Like digital marketing, or if you created a course or a sales program, you can offer a 60% reduction because it was built 6 months ago. You already did the work. Yeah. So it's that follow, you know what I mean? So there's different variations, but we see so many things like Black Friday sales and oh my God, they're like 40% off. And we think that it somehow applies to us, but it doesn't. Like if you're worth something, every one of you sales reps out there, please know you are worth.
Don't discount what Dan's saying. The easiest, quickest way, don't discount your price, raise your value. Raise your value.
There you go.
Raise your value. That's, I mean, that, yeah. And take that value away. You know, one thing we used to do in the in-home sales industry, you know, the big catch, I'm sure there's still a lot of companies out, I'm sorry I'm beating you guys up for this, but that do this whole today's price only, you know, the whole infomercial, 10 minutes left, buy them while they last. It's all the rush. Most people don't fall for that anymore. Grant Cardone says it's true. We're on the information age. That doesn't people don't fall for that. So you got to build value, but you also then, when you're building value, don't be afraid to take it away. So, hey, Mr. Customer, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, okay, you know, and again, like Dan's saying, if you have to take those value, well, we won't do these check calls, we won't do this, but now it's gonna be this. Well, then it's not worth it. Don't take that. Don't offer it. Don't make the deal. Don't sell it. Find somebody else who will do it for super cheap and screw it over. Like he's saying, value what you're doing. Now, if you aren't going above and beyond, if you aren't giving that extra, then yeah, of course. I mean, keep dropping your price, but you'll see how long they last.
And Jeffrey puts it here. So Jeff, this is a carrot. This is a pickle. Okay, so for all of you watching, listening, this is a pickle. Jeff just said, if you're looking to set up a long-term relationship with a client, do what you need to do to meet the client's needs. I paid a carrier to move an empty trailer from Wisconsin to PA to set up a weekly pickup, out of pocket, no profit, because I knew what it would create. So what Jeff just did is he gave the client the pickle of the trailer out of his own pocket to say, here, other people are going to charge you for this. I'm going to set it up because I get the business weekly, because he's not short-term, he's long-term thinking. That
Yes.
is a
It's
perfect
not it's
example,
not
Jeff,
gonna
of
load
exactly what
right
we're
then.
talking about.
Yes, that's exactly. That's a
And
mic drop right there. That I mean,
100%.
yeah.
But you think about it, right? Think about this from another level. I need $2,000 to get the job done. I have somebody at 1750. Okay, I'll take it at 1750. That is such short-term thinking, because at 1750, you're going to, and I'm talking without giving the customer any information on it, right? Like, listen, I'm going to have to use second tier, da da da. And again, in the end, customers don't want to hear that. They don't care if you use second tier. They're paying you to do A, B, C, and D. And if you
Right.
accept to do A, B, C, and D at 1750, get A, B, C, and D done. It's when you negate to get C and D done, and you only do an A and B, that you ruin your image, your credibility, and your brand long term. I would much rather, again, and I know I've said it before, I'll say it again, I'll say it 10 more times before we end this recording, because it's so, excuse me, so important. You're worth the $2,000. If they want to give it to somebody else at 1750, I know sales managers are going to be like, Dan, what the hell are you telling my people to do? But don't take it. Like, listen, if you got your stellar people on it and you can do it at 1750 and it's $100 profit or $50 profit, and your cost to invoice in your company is like $20 profit or something, and there's margin in it for you and for your
Yes, as
company,
long as
don't just
it's
think for yourself,
profitable for the
your company.
company. Yes, as long as it's profitable for the company. But here to that point, and I'm about to.
But not as long as it is, DJ. It has, like,
I'm,
you got to think, if there's 4 hours worth of work in it and it's a $50 margin, it's not profitable. Even though the company
of
might say
course,
invoicing $20 is our
yeah.
invoicing cost, so in actuality we make $30
But
as a
you're
company. No, you don't, because of the 4 hours spent on it, right?
correct, absolutely. But and man, you brought up something that I'm about to go on a little rant, but it pisses me off so bad. For all the brokers out there that just keep undercutting, whoever is teaching people to just go in and undercut, hoping that you're going to find something and then screwing these customers over left and right, stop doing it. You're not helping anybody, not helping yourself. You're not helping the customer. You're not helping anybody.
You know
Yeah,
what there should be, DJ? There should be a list. You know how, like, there's a no call list for telemarketers,
yes, should be a
right?
blacklist for those guys. A
There
blacklist.
should be
Yeah,
a salesperson blacklist, a
yeah.
salesperson blacklist, and I'm actually going to put some thought into how the hell we can create one. A
I've had some.
salesperson blacklist that's available to every single shipper on the planet, where all they do is type, "What's your name?" They type in the name, and they can see,
Yes,
and blockchain, that just the
that's
technology of
a
blockchain
great
might be able to
idea.
create something like this, because I'm saying. Jeff's right. It gives the industry a bad name, but you know what, Jeff? It goes well beyond that. It gives companies a bad names. It gives the specific,
It gives
like the
brokers.
specific categories. I mean, not
When it
just
comes,
brokers, categories: 4PL,
yeah,
3PL, 5PL,
yeah,
asset
yes,
carriers.
exactly. Yeah,
Owner operators, like all
man.
the different
Every
names.
every every shipper now they get that enough times by these brokers that are being taught this. Now every
Not only
broker
that,
is saying
shipper
that.
blacklist. Shipper
Yeah,
blacklist. Because, in
yeah.
all of this, we're forgetting about the shippers that treat drivers, the number one asset in this industry, like
Yeah,
pieces of dirt. We're forgetting
yeah.
about that. And that is
Yes,
key.
agreed.
Not only that, truck stops that treat drivers like a number, because it's all a
Yes.
money game now, or like all of it, you know.
Shippers that we go
Jeff
down the
says,
line.
get a bulletproof vest, Dan.
Oh no. Are we becoming public enemy number one on this? No.
Yeah. Well, you know what? But it's true, right, DJ? I mean, like, listen, I get it. I've watched viewers come in and out of this all session with the counters at the top here. And I get it. And some people might just disagree with what we're saying, and that's fine. But the reality is, if you've had, or if you've called a prospect, and well, we don't deal with brokers. Why? Well, because
Yeah.
brokers let us down at the 11th hour, right? It's like, okay, I guess maybe some people wake up and say, how am I going to convince somebody to give me money today and really not do any work? And I like to believe, and call me Pollyanna, whatever you want, say my lens is not accurate the way I see things, but I would really like to believe that everybody wakes up in the morning and says, like, how do I do something honest, with integrity, and maybe they don't consciously think this, but I don't think they wake up saying, "Oh, I can't wait to call DJ today and convince him to use me and then totally fuck him over." Because when you
I
get screwed
I don't
over, nobody
I don't
makes
think
any
I'm
money
doing that.
anyways,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, Like how
I
many?
hope it.
I guess that's why there's evil people on the planet. That's why these Ponzi schemes exist. That's why, like, I mean, you got to think. So there is people that do it.
That's why we get so many calls about our car warranty expiring, and we don't even have a car warranty or a credit card or whatever. All of
Yeah,
these things. That's the reason. It's those people. But leave
yeah,
that to those guys, then, guys. Leave that to those guys. Let them. Yeah.
yeah.
Man.
Oh, all right. You know what? Finish it off with a. You got a quote today, or you got to look one
I
up?
do. I have
Okay.
a great quote for today. It's by Gary Ryan Blair. I've not heard of him, but I love this quote, so I'm gonna look a little more into him now. But it's do more than is required. What is the distance between someone who achieves their goals constantly and those who spend their life merely following the extra
Mm.
mile?
You know what? Everything good is done on the extra mile. And I know it sounds so, oh, Dan, that's a personal development quote somewhere. But you know what, my friends? The reality is when you go the extra mile, customers realize it. And the more customers that realize it, and you might say, well, how do I use that? Well, you use that through reference letters, you use that through testimonials, you use it through everything else. Go be that
Review. Yep.
individual that you really want your customers to look up to. And some of you might think, well, I just run freight. In our industry, like what we do enables people to sell. Without freight, nobody can sell their product. Nobody could tell it because how does it get to the customer? Like your
Absolutely.
mission, your job, what you do really does matter. And please take that away. It really matters. But more
Yes.
importantly, it's what your entire, like the entire backbone of your business, of your company matters. And if one person doesn't see that vision, it shatters your image, your credibility, and your brand because you're the one that makes that phone call.
And
Like it
Dan,
really does.
to your point, so I will give. I did have one other quote that I've seen many times when looking up the extra mile quote, and to go along with to back what you said, Wayne Dyer. There's a quote by Wayne Dyer. It's never crowded along the extra mile.
It's a good one. Have a great day, everybody.